Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming to the presentation, either live or on the replay. I am very excited to share the stories I have to share on this one. I'm Jessie Lucas. I'm coming to you from the Washington, D.C. area. I am by trade a yoga teacher, personal trainer, nutrition coach. I have my master's in the health arts and sciences. And I have been working with this approach of activation for over 10 years. So for me to have this renewed level of enthusiasm, I am always excited to share about activation. Um, but something happened in this past week that opened my eyes in a whole different way. So I do have some slides to share. I'm gonna pull those up, take you through a tiny bit of the history, and then I want to explore with you tonight what happens when we go beyond the cell. So I'm going to talk about activating processes in our cells. But did you know that our bodies are more not human than they are human? We have trillions of cells in our body that are our own human cells, but more than that, we have a microbiome. And what this means is these are other little creatures, bacteria that live inside of us in a symbiotic relationship with our cells. But these other, I know it sounds kind of gross, but like non-human beings actually play a huge role in how you feel on a day-to-day basis. So with that, I'm going to pull my screen up and hit play. Okay, so when I say activation, LifeVantage is the activation company. And I use the word the intentionally because it's not an activation company. We have been blazing the trail. In fact, when I started with this company over 10 years ago, we weren't using that term. We were using bigger, clunkier terms like biohacking and nutrigenomics and things that are true. But when we realized how can we best communicate what all of those large scientific terms mean? All it really means is flipping switches in your body's activity. And that's where we started. And over the years, it's how we continue to expand. So just before we get into the health aspect, just a little bit about who's talking here. So I partnered with this company because of their visionary leadership, because the company itself has high integrity through uh, the places where it's been recognized, not only in the news and in the media, but scientific and medical documentation, peer-reviewed studies, the financial transparency being a publicly traded company. I am very skeptical when it comes to the category of what I would have called before supplements, but I'm going to now give you a new category of activators. I'm very careful about what I put into my body. So if you're like me, knowing, a little bit about who's behind all this matters. So enough about that for now, though. I want to save time for the good microbiome stuff. But look us up. We are a solid and exciting company. So, as promised, this brief overview of the difference between activation and supplementation. Because look, when we're trying to manage our health, when something goes wrong, sometimes we uh, go get a medication. And I think we all understand that. When we're looking to enhance our health, most of the time, what we know to do is go to supplementation, and supplementation has its place. So it can fill in a gap, it can boost things that are low. But what activation does, and in our case, we use low dose synergy. So the tiny amounts in the right proportions that act together to put a signal out in your cells that say, hey, cells, do this thing like it did when you were younger, healthier, and it just kind of starts failing to do. So it's really just flipping those switches to have your body operate in optimized ways, because this is what happens. Life gets out of balance. This hits home for me. It probably hits home for you. And sometimes there's big whacks out of balance. You deal with a grief or a trauma or a hardship or an illness or something that really throws you out of whack. And what I want to call your attention to right now, though, is that When it's the little things, the tiny cumulative things over the days, over the weeks, over the years that start to kind of shift that optimal performance into kind of fair and then poor and then really poor. And then that's where we start feeling it. So we start feeling it in how our minds work. We feel it in how our movement, how our bodies work. We definitely feel it in our energy, in our metabolism. Our metabolism slows down. We don't process food as easily. We feel sluggish or foggy. And then the cellular repair, when things start to break down, think about it. When you're younger, I remember when my younger son, who's 19 now, which is crazy, he's 1 years old. He broke a bone in his foot, and then 2 days later, he was jumping off the couch again. That cellular repair worked very quickly. And as we age, because of the stresses and strains and lack of proper signaling and proper nutrients in order to facilitate that signaling, that repair slows down. We don't bounce back like we used to. So when LifeVantage started, this was our flagship product. I have a whole nother presentation that goes more in depth into that. So follow along the journey and come back for that another time. But what I'm going to say about this is this was the discovery of activation because we were looking for a mega antioxidant. The scientist who developed this was the grandfather of antioxidant therapy. He knew antioxidants fight free radical damage, or you may know that as oxidative stress or inflammation. And what he accidentally discovered was the particular ingredients in this actually told your body, instead of consuming the antioxidants through the wonderful ingredients, it actually told your body to make its own antioxidant enzymes. And that's a completely different animal. Those enzymes, they have big names: glutathione, superoxide dismutase, catalase. Those enzymes are actually a million times more powerful than any supplement you can take. And that's not being hyperbolic. That goes to show that the intelligence and the power of healing and recovery in your body is designed to be that powerful. And we just get little tiny bits of it through our food. We get maybe a little more potent through our supplements, but activation, a whole different ballgame. So I hope that sets a good example. Fast forward now, almost 20 years, LifeVantage just continues to innovate. Just like we knew oxidative stress or inflammation was kind of the big bad wolf when it came to degeneration, or even at the hub of many disease processes, we knew other things were at play as well. Things like mitochondrial dysfunction, things like your sirtuin proteins. If you've heard of NAD, people go to the drip bars to get NAD infusions. There are supplements that claim to replace NAD. We keep asking, what are the main causes that help our bodies or facilitate our bodies to break down? And can we activate those processes to optimize again? And we've been able to do that in so many categories of wellness. We've done it in skincare, so a topical rejuvenation. We've done it in brain function with our Axio nootropic drink. We work with the circadian rhythm. I mean, it goes on because LifeVantage continues to ask this question: what else can we activate? And this is where I want to bring things a little more current. So I'm going to bring you up to speed to 1 year ago this month. LifeVantage announced that we can activate creating GLP-1. And again, this is another one I have a whole nother presentation on that's worth listening to. I have the one slide in here because it connects the dots to where we're going next, which is the microbiome that I was talking about. But we knew, GLP-1, a lot of people thought it was the drug because that's what was newsworthy. But it turns out GLP-1 is just a hormone your body makes. And if you can turn it on naturally, your body goes back to the balance and rhythm that it is meant to do. So when we make these choices to start getting our body systems in line, we can really start to see what's effective, where are we feeling better, and what's missing. Because here's the thing: life does come at us every day. Our soil quality is poor, our water quality is poor, our air quality is poor. I spend a lot of time traveling, so going through security at the airports, breathing that air in the planes and in hotels. I mean, you name it, even making good choices. Those little microdoses of toxins add up. So, what if you had an edge on that? And everything we've been talking about so far has been at the cellular level. You start giving your cells the right information to function properly or optimally, you have better results. It's as simply as that. But do you remember those other little guys, the microbiome, the inhabitants of your body, the bugs that are not human but live inside of you that really dictate so much of your health? You've heard this, that everything starts in your gut, your immune system, your happy hormones, obviously metabolic function, even your brain activity. So, what if you could give those microorganisms the right information for them to send the proper signals? Well, LifeVantage hadn't created that. But what happened just a mere few months ago? A match made in heaven was created. There was an introduction between a couple of people who said, there's a company out there that makes a gut health activator. And LifeVantage said, you got to be kidding me, because we are the activation company. And now activation wasn't the approach of this other company. But when we looked into this, because if this does not, if the product does not answer this question, is it an activator, then it is not something that we can adopt. But we knew that the gut health area in wellness was way underserved. There are a ton of products out there. There are greens, there are probiotics, there are prebiotics, there are postbiotics, there are supplements and food recommendations to help balance out your gut. But there was not one thing on the market that we could see that actually had this same approach of using phytonutrient synergy to actually regulate, repair, restore the balance of the gut through this activation approach. Well, that's what P84 does. This is the product that I am officially clocking 1 week on today, and I'm going to tell you my story about it in just a moment. It's in 2 steps. So it's 2 little packets. I meant to bring some upstairs with me, but I don't have them on me. Step one, you have Phytopower 1. Step two, Phytopower 2. You mix them together, one drink, down the hatch, easy peasy. And it's divided up in this way because the way that it is curated to have the right, again, it's all about the right things in the right proportions, delivered in the right way to get everything that in that delivery will tell those microorganisms to do what they are designed to do. So you get everything all together, all of your greens, all of your superfoods, all of the post probiotics, the digestive enzymes. And what I love about this is that it is so simple. It was everything I was looking for, but couldn't find uh, something that had this kind of power. So, because synergy is what we are all about, and it turns out synergy is what this product is all about, we decided to put the Protandim NRF2 that I spoke about first and this P84 together in what is called the Healthy Edge Stack. So, when you think about how your body operates, you need that reduction of the oxidative stress as a defense. When you are in an inflamed state, your body is fighting, and we need that to calm down. And when you are nourishing that microbiome, you have this optimized offense. So this becomes a take it to make it. So we take Protandim, we take P84, we take this healthy edge stack to make our own, not consume, but to make our own antioxidants and gut peptides. You guys, these are the two main things that determine your health. I'll say it again. These are the two main things that determine your health. So that offense defense approach, if you think, you know, if you're watching this live, it's a football night here in the American football here in the United States. I know we're international on this call tonight. But if you had the best offense and the best defense, you would be unstoppable on the field. And that's how we want to create our bodies. I am a firm believer that our bodies do not have to follow this degeneration path that we see so commonly. My grandparents were a good example of that. My dad's parents lived to be 98 and 103. My grandfather lived to be 103, and they were happy, healthy, mentally with it. We don't live in our grandparents' world. And my dad is an example of that. He was exposed to a really harsh chemical. He was a Vietnam veteran exposed to Agent Orange, and that deteriorated his cellular function. And sadly, he is no longer with us. He did not get to live out the genetic potential that his parents passed on. And this was one of the big eye openers for me. So when I started these other activators, the cellular health activators, I didn't start with any expectation. So I'm going to tell you my story with P84 here, because every body is different. And as long as I've been in this game, as many stories as I've heard about people with the collagen that we have, with the mind body GLP-1, with the protandim, I mean, we don't claim to cure, treat, mitigate, prevent, heal anything. We create health. That's what we do. And when I started this, I was in my mid to upper 30s. I was, from what I knew, pretty healthy. I wasn't expecting anything, but I knew this was my proactive approach. And now, there were some little things that I noticed. And 10 years later, I look around at other people my age and stage and perimenopause and put through the ringer raising kids. And I feel like I look and feel pretty good for what I've been through. And I attribute that to not only, my healthy lifestyle choices, but to being activated for a decade. So last week, I flew out to Dallas. I got my hands on this P84. I knew I was going to take it because there it is. Indra has it. If you can see Indra's screen, if you're on gallery, she's holding up the packets there. Thank you. You're my Vanna White there, like presenting it. Thank you. Appreciate that. Teamwork makes the dream work, you guys. We don't do this alone. Um, but I looked at the product, I looked at the ingredients, I heard about what they have. I heard all their stories about how excited the folks who've already been using this for a while are. And I'm like, well, this is just a no-brainer. I'm gonna put it in my arsenal of health, and that's what we're gonna do. So the first 2 days I was in Dallas, and like, hotel, I don't sleep well. We were having late nights, early mornings, go, go, go all day. And while I didn't notice anything kind of like above and beyond, I definitely noticed I felt clear. I didn't feel tired. I felt like I just felt good. I felt better than I should with the lack of sleep and all of the energy output and all of that. But here's day 3 and day 4 are the kickers. So day 3, my first day home. I woke up at the crack of dawn to catch a pre-sunrise flight on the way home. Get home, and usually I plan for this. I plan an R&R day. It was football Sunday. We're a big football family here. I planned on just, unloading my stuff, parking on the couch, and just letting myself recover. Well, I dropped my stuff. I got on the couch, but I had taken my laptop with me. You guys, I started doing math. I kid you not. And I am not a math person, but it's the end of the month. I had some numbers for my business to check on, for myself, for my team. And this is stuff, I do, but not on a post-travel recovery day. My brain was so sharp and so clear, and I had zero fatigue, like none. And when I noticed I wasn't horizontal in my just nap for football status, I like took a second and paused and checked in, and I was like, I actually am not only feeling zero fatigue and am feeling clear, I feel this elevated level of energy. And it wasn't like a caffeinated, bouncy kind of thing. It was just like somebody turned it up a notch. And that lasted. That lasted the entire day. It didn't keep me up at night when it's bedtime. It's time to go to bed. I slept well. Day 4. So day 4, I'm oh, and I was like doing a bunch of laundry and like all these chores and everything. Day 4, I wake up and I've got this laundry to put away that I had done the day before, and it's got a big, Monday kind of to-do list. So I just starting ticking off all the chores. And at some point, late morning, because of course I have my P84 again in the morning, I've got a stack of folded dish towels and I'm putting them away in the little cabinet, and I'm squatting down to put them in, and I paused again. And I was like, oh my gosh. It was like someone had flipped the switch of happy hormones. And I don't know yet what we can like compliantly say about this product, so I'm trying to be very careful here. But if you go look up like what are your happy hormones? And then you go look up where are your happy hormones created? They're mostly created in your gut. And I swear it, like, I could feel in that moment, it was like ka-chunk, lights came on. And I will tell you this, and then move on and start to wrap this up. I'm very physically healthy. I'm very grateful for that. I'm very persistently positive. I'm stubborn. I'm an Aries. I'm a motivated type A kind of person, but I have been through a lot. I have a few stacked on stacked on stacked big T traumas, from a while back to pretty recent, and I have to manage my mental health with a lot of energy. I mean, I'm good at coping. I'm good at managing, but it takes a lot out of me, and I still kind of hit this ceiling with it, where I can appreciate and I have gratitude and I can look for the good, but I don't feel it from the inside. It's not a natural feeling. This was a natural feeling, and I'll tell you, it has stuck with me ever since. And I was home alone with three kids in the house, two teenage girls and a college age boy. Their hormones are all raging. Their behavior was not the best this pre-Halloween week. I had a mouse in my kitchen. So I'm like sanitizing and cleaning and tearing my kitchen apart and get like, it's not been an easy week. I was excited from the event. I was happy to see my friends, but I came home to lifing, and something sparkled on the inside. So take a look at this. I think it's the next slide. Yeah. All right. I just threw this in here because I found this in a little info booklet. When you think about, like, I would not have told you I had gut health issues. Oh, we have somebody unmuted. Let's mute. Okay. Thank you. Um, I would not have told you I had gut health issues because my digestion's fine, my elimination's fine, I don't get gassy, I don't get bloating. So I would have told you it's fine. You guys look at the second thing on that list. What can you expect? Okay, gut health. The very next thing says mental health. And I know this, like, I know this, but I wouldn't have made the connection. And I do other things. I eat fermented foods, I take our probiotics. So it's not like I was ignoring my gut health, but I didn't have activation. I didn't have P84. So anyway, that's my story. Gut health is really tied to literally everything. Just like you can't function if you don't have cells, you can't function if you don't have a healthy microbiome. So if any of this sparks curiosity in you, I got to tell you, activation changes lives. It really does. And I'm just going to touch on this briefly because what we experienced in Dallas last weekend, it was the merging of two different communities. So as we're bringing the company that held P84, a company called Lovebiome, and LifeVantage, and we're merging these two communities. Like I said, this discussion that was happening behind closed doors to discover, are these products in alignment? The doors were opened and these two communities together. And I will tell you that match made in heaven vibe was there throughout. And what that means now is we have an amplified voice, which is very exciting because paving the way in activation, creating a new category of wellness, like you said, you know where to go to get your medications, you know where to go to get your supplements, but you probably didn't even know there were activators, let alone where to get them. And now that voice, we have paved the way, and that voice is getting louder. So if this is inspiring to you at all, or maybe you were in a position like I was when I discovered this, I was in a need. I was gigging for my pay, being a yoga teacher and personal trainer, no paid time off. As a single parent, at this point now, 2 plus 2 kids. My partner works for the federal government. That's shut down right now. We never know. We never know where our financial future is going to be. And I think at this day and age, not only having a plan A, but a B, C, and D is critical for really every person, every family. But you got to be smart. You got to be smart about that. Was when I took a look at this, I was not interested in putting any bandwidth into something that wasn't going to uh, be something for the long term, wasn't going to be something that had high integrity, and wasn't something that was really going to create a big piece of my financial pie. I didn't want pocket change. Some people do, and that's fine. And there really is a place for everybody. There are some elements of looking at what would constitute something worth your time. So that's another thing that's also worth a whole nother thing. But this is a really huge growing industry. The numbers are in our favor as far as people's attention really being on gut health, looking for solutions that they can't find anywhere else. And LifeVantage doesn't ride trends. We set them. We created this category of activation. We're bringing gut health into it. And you don't, you want to create the ripples, not chase them. And that's where we are. So, if you're thinking, is this for me? I don't know. LifeVantage really does have a place for everybody here. It's not a one size fits all game. Uh, whatever your strengths are, whether you have a great network or you just really love to share, there's a place for you here. There's a way to get paid. If, like me, you love to build and grow and really help others have success, help others educate, there's a place for you here. We pay for that too. If you really want to continue your leadership development and be a part of the bigger picture, there is a place for that, and we pay really well for that too. So I'm not going to go into the details of the compensation plan. That would take a little bit more time, although it's something I have come to really love and happy to do that another time. But just to flash this on the screen, you can screenshot this, or this is also downloadable from our website. Like I said, we're a publicly traded company. This is our income disclosure statement. If you take a look at that average monthly commissions paid as rank, that's what we're paying out. And if you see a number there that could make a difference in yours or your family's life coming in month over month over month. This isn't, just like sell a bunch of kitchenware and then have to do it all over again. People love our products, they stay on them long term. We have a high reorder rate, and we have people who love to share and refer, whether they're getting paid to do so or not. So, with that, thank you so much. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your time. Thank you for showing up to learn. I hope that you heard something inspiring. Maybe you heard something new. I hope that you heard something that maybe made you think of somebody else and that they might need to hear about what we have going on in the world of activation in the microbiome health. And pretty soon we're going to have everything available, the ingredients list, we have a one clinical study coming out. We've got another one coming out in the new year, and then a human clinical trial coming out a little bit later in 2026. So this really truly is just the beginning. My goal tonight was to just introduce the concept of activation at the microbiome level, share my personal experience in a way that I hope uh, was inspiring and moving. And with that, I'm going to end the presentation here. I'm going to stop the recording, and then if anybody has any questions, I can stay on for a few moments for that.